Okay, let's wrap up schedule management in these final 6 minutes. So the schedule network analysis. There's a misconception out there that the critical path is not the one with all the... no. Realize that the critical path is not the path with the critical activities. I could have a much more singular or two critical activities elsewhere, but it only accounts for time. It's about time management in this schedule management knowledge area. So don't confuse those. Couple of quick points. Can there be more than one critical path? Yes, we talked about that. Do you want there to be? No. The more critical paths, the greater risk to your project. Can critical path change? Yes, especially if you have a near critical path, they could change and it could become the critical path now. Can there be negative float? Yes. What would you do as the project manager? Do something about it. Do schedule compression techniques, for example, in fast tracking or crashing. How much float does critical path have? Usually 0. Does the network diagram change when the end date changes? No. The network diagram itself, the relationships, is still the same. Would you leave a project with negative float? No. And does your project? Yeah, I don't mean anything else. Okay, that's it. If the exam asks you questions, you as the PM, especially with your schedule, your cost, your budget, whatever, analyze first. Very important lesson, I think. So the schedule baseline is an output now of developed schedule. I finally have my schedule baseline. This is the approved version of the schedule model. Okay? And the schedule can now only be changed in a process called Bueller. That's a reference to Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Great movie if you have time. The schedule can now only be changed in the process called Integrated Change Control, ICC. Okay? Well, as outputs, we have our scheduled data, a collection of the information that we'll use for controlling the schedule. Our project calendars with the days and shifts associated, change requests, plan updates, and document updates. Okay. I also have the project schedule as an output. And there is a milestone chart we talked about in the early part of the lesson. Okay. Finally, I want to control schedule. When I control schedule, my inputs, tools, and outputs, I have my project plan, especially my PMB, my performance measurement baseline, all those three baselines together, my documents, my work performance data. Whenever I'm in control outside of the knowledge, outside of integration management, whenever I'm in control, work performance data is an input. I need data from the execution process group and OPAs. Okay. My tools are data analysis, earned value management, we'll talk about in cost management, performance reviews, variance or what if analysis we've talked about, iteration burn down chart, which is tracking the work remaining versus the backlog. Other tools are the critical path method, we just looked at that. The PIMIS, which we've talked about many times. We also talked about resource optimization, including resource smoothing and resource leveling. Leads and lags we talked about in sequence activities, and schedule compression. Remember there were two types, fast tracking and crashing. And my outputs are my work performance information, which is analyzed data. The data was an input, work performance data. Now I have my information analyzed. I'm going to make forecasts based on the schedule. I'm going to do change requests, plan updates, and document updates. Okay, so some final notes on control schedule for your review. Notice now we have our scope baseline, which has three parts: the scope statement, WBS, and WBS dictionary, which is always with it, and my schedule baseline, which is my network diagram that I turned into a schedule by adding times and doing my schedule network analysis. Cost management, of course, will be next, and that will give us a cost baseline. And now we're ready to make trade-offs while we execute in integration. Okay, thank you very much. Great lesson, schedule management. Let's do cost management next.